y'all, I'm Marseille Martin and welcome to Soul of a Nation. Tonight we're going to talk about the next generation. We'll head into the deep future and connect it to the past. We'll dig into style, sneakers, and just wait until you see the performance by her because it's lit. But first, a connection to our past, alive in the present. Not many people alive today can say they knew someone who survived slavery in America. One of those rare gems is Miss Lucille Osborne, a witness to history. The story of her great-grandfather reveals a painful family secret that stretches back more than a century. Sterling K. Brown brings us the story of heritage, legacy, and grace.
I remember those days back on the farm, we called it. I did hear about life as a slave. They never brought the subject up unless I asked. So I did ask.
Lucille Burton Osborne is 95 years old. She heard about slavery because she lived in a house with family who had survived being enslaved, like her great-grandmother, Rachel McGruder.
It was her job to take the lunches out to the fields to the workers. They had buttermilk and cornbread for lunch.
Rachel was married to Charles McGruder, who was also enslaved.
Evidently, old man Charles McGruder must have been a very important person to the community because we would hear his name many, many times. But nobody seemed to want to discuss how Charles fit into that slave situation. And it seemed like everybody would whisper when they were talking about Charles.
Turns out Charles was a breeder, someone who was forced to have children with enslaved women who also had no choice. That's devastating.
If you've been told to do something, that's your job. You get out of there and you go and do it, especially if you're a slave. My mother said, listen to this. If you ever go anywhere in your life and you see the name McGruder or you hear the name McGruder, that's a relative that came from Charles.
My name is Warren McGruder Sr. I'm the great-grandson of Charles McGruder Sr.
My name is JR, and Charles McGruder is my great-great-great-grandfather.
My name is Gwendolyn Elaine Hubbard. Charles McGruder was my great-great-grandfather.
I am Marie McGruder, and Charles McGruder is my great-great-grandfather.
Congress banned the transatlantic slave trade in 1808. Since they couldn't import enslaved Africans, owners forced people like Charles to breed to create more slaves and more profit.
We have records that show us, that tell us from enslaved people that there were certain people who were deemed fit for breeding.
Charles McGruder was reported to be 6'4", broad shoulders, very strong.
Charles McGruder Sr. was basically rented out to go from plantation to plantation to breed with other African women.
Slave owners owned enslaved women's wombs, and they owned the products of enslaved women's wombs. And that was foundational to how white Southerners understood and conceptualized slavery.
I can't imagine how, I don't even know if he could feel, because at that stage and in that point in time, he was surviving himself. I can just say I forgive the whole history of slavery. I put that in the hands of God, because it becomes it's my business. It's my business to be able to heal and move forward.
Charles turned this crime against humanity into a family homestead.
There is this history of Black ingenuity, Black creativity, Black effort to hold on to family ties.
The 1866 Alabama census shows Charles gathered all his folks, including almost 40 children, onto a single plot of land. In 1877, Charles was able to purchase almost 300 acres of land with his sharecropper wages. Charles bought the land for $1,500, the same value he was given as a slave.
My great-great-grandfather, Charles McGruder, brought property for his wife, Rachel, and all of their kids are listed on this property or on this deed.
All of the families lived on the same estate and various plots of land on the estate. The sense of family and community, a sense of always wanting to improve based on your circumstances and try to keep the family together.
The family still owns part of that land today, much of it overgrown, covering up the rich yet complicated history.
And I always said, when I get to be a man, I'm going to build me a house upon this land. It's my pride and joy.
I want to preserve this for future generations of McGruders. Maybe in a few years, we could even bring everyone onto the land and have a big family reunion, which is my goal.
Family that includes doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs. JR is working on a book titled The Alabama Black McGruders.
One of the very first things that Charles did was direct his sons to learn how to read and write and to teach all the McGruder children how to read and write and to pursue education and financial and self-development. What would have happened had formerly enslaved people received 40 acres and a mule for their children to acquire education and to create social mobility? The Alabama Black McGruder story perhaps offers an answer.
My mother told me that the land was the most important thing in a black family's life. If you don't have that, you got nothing. You're like a slave again.
My name is Jill, and I'm a McGruder.
Hey!
Hi! Lucille!
Jill is a descendant of the white McGruders, who once owned Charles. Through family tree DNA testing, Jill learned she is a seventh cousin to Charles. Charles was enslaved by the family's own grandfather.
Yeah, we're family. I wrote it all out on a piece of paper so you can see exactly how we're related.
They say DNA don't lie.
I know. A lot of information coming out of the closet now.
Oh.
I know as a white McGruder, or just as a white American, you hear the stories about a slave owner having children with a slave woman, and you know, there's some kind of denial about that.
The group passes around public records which confirm Lucille's memories. For the very first time, she's seeing the price that was put on the lives of people she knew and loved.
Well, look at the money. Well, I can't believe that there was a money value on a human life.
That's the thing, yeah. I know.
I can't believe this, but of course, here it is, in black and white, and I always said, you know.
It makes me feel sad. I would say that makes me feel sad.
When you see the wills on the white side, that's when it really started to hit me, when I'd see people listed with livestock and furniture.
Miss Lucille is a living link to a painful history that her relatives and loved ones worked hard to turn into a proud legacy.
And I think, oh my God, I met freed slaves in my own family. I don't know how cool that is, but I think it's marvelous. Because how many people know that I met this person and they were once a slave and now they're free and they are your relative.
Yeah.
So look at the legacy you got. If we made it through here, you can do even better.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.